Facts First presents the one piece of clothing that's responsible for ending thousands of lives. For as long as people have been wearing clothes, they've been deciding what to wear. People use clothes to express themselves. Not everybody's going to love any particular style, but people always have wanted to be stylish in their own unique way. It seems like new fashion trends are popping up all the time, too, and many styles that debut on the runway never make it into our closets because, well, high fashion isn't always practical. Over the years, there have been many impractical styles, but people just weren't quick to veto them. Men in the 18th century wore enormous wigs with comically small hats. Some wore a feather on the top to signify sophistication or intelligence. Well, that made it difficult to walk into a room without having to bend over. It didn't stop the men from wearing the wigs, hats, and feathers, though. In ancient China, young girls with bound feet wore shoes to accentuate those bound feet. The shoes were designed to look like a lotus bud, and they were designed more for show than function. When girls wore the shoes, they had trouble walking. That's because their feet were permanently bent in half. That's what binding feet does. The shoes affected their daily lives, but they were still popular. By the middle of the 19th century, women were wearing huge skirts. They'd been all the rage for over 200 years, and apparently the bigger the skirt, the more refined and prestigious the lady. The skirt first became popular during the 15th century when they were worn by Spanish women. The woman known for debuting the look was Joanna of Portugal. Her bold fashion choice caught the attention of many, and some believed she used the billowing skirt to hide an illegitimate pregnancy. The next big thing in fashion was the pannier. It was similar to big skirts of the earlier days, but it was more extreme. These skirts were much bigger, and they restricted the movements even more. Women didn't care, because it was all about staying with the current fashion. The last step in the evolution of the humongous skirt was the crinoline. It was the most lethal as well. This is the one piece of clothing that's responsible for ending thousands of lives. Thanks to new fabrics that were more wearable and lightweight, the skirts were bigger and better than ever. Also, the crinoline didn't restrict movement as much, and finally women were able to do things in their skirts that they could never do before their giant skirts. Thanks to the crinoline fabric, women could now wear their giant skirts and they could still sit down. A woman could sit down and always look refined and even be comfortable. That wasn't the only perk of the new style, though. Before crinoline came out, women couldn't climb stairs. Now they could wear their huge skirts and still climb any set of stairs before them. The new fabric also helped when women attended social events. Before crinoline, attending the opera was very difficult for women in huge skirts. Getting up the stairs to their seats was almost impossible, and when the women did sit down, their dress would obstruct their view, and possibly the views of people directly behind them. The invention of crinoline solved those problems as well. While crinoline made life easy for fashionable women, it also posed some serious risks. With so much fabric surrounding them at all times, they were dangerous situations everywhere. For example, candles and fireplaces were a huge concern. The layers of material were highly flammable, and the skirt was so large it was easy for women to catch a spark and then quickly go up in flames. Women also got their giant skirts caught in wagon wheels on the street, which resulted in severe bodily injury. While crinoline was considered to be extremely dangerous, in some ways it came in handy. In France, women were able to use the massive amounts of fabric to smuggle goods, including gunpowder, tobacco, and alcohol across the border. The material was also helpful if a woman were to go overboard in a shipwreck. The crinoline acted as a flotation device because it's buoyant. While that style has died out over the years for typical ladies, it's not gone altogether. Yeah, sure, you're not going to see women walking down the street wearing a gigantic skirt anymore, but you can be sure that you will see those styles on the runway once in a while. Fashion and high fashion are two entirely different things. High fashion is something like the giant dresses of the 18th century that were very uncomfortable and very impractical. Fashion, that's something you can wear every day. It fits comfortably and something that you see hundreds of people wearing on the street. Except me. I have no sense of fashion whatsoever. Subscribe for more.